This isn't what I was going to talk about in my next video, and I never imagined I would do such a video. So, I had this plan for a while where in November, it originally was October, but I've been planning it for over a year anyway. Throughout the month of November, I would just use as little modern tech as possible. Basically, I was using an XP era computer with old games being installed from disk, just like in the old days. And I was not even using a phone. I theoretically, actually, I was, but I was using this old iPhone, first gen iPhone SE, but only for texting and Google Maps, because if I had to go to Amsterdam a couple times and I needed the maps. And I was doing pretty well. Like, other than some what I would call feeling of isolation because I couldn't call anyone on Discord. I don't really have a lot of people to hang out with IRL and all of that. It was going pretty well. I even have this journal with me, listing everything that happened every day. And you may ask, oh, but it's only, what, the 12th of November now, as of this recording? Yeah, unfortunately I had to end this challenge early. And I'll get into it very, very soon. I'll start reading about what I wrote in this journal, elaborate, because I don't want to make this whole video just about what happened, but also about this challenge I was trying to do. I filmed some footage, it's on my old iPhone, but I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't really feel like unearthing it right now, so I'm probably just gonna like put a random image as the background. On the first day, I woke up very early after somewhat productive, if not kind of depressing night. I set up my computer. I was having second thoughts. Some events happened that I'm not going to get into due to them being, I don't know. I don't think they are necessary to talk about. I installed some games. I watched Challengers because a few days before, I got that movie on Blu-ray and I wanted to rewatch it. It was a good time. Yeah, it was a good start for day one. It's really, not having a phone, even if it was just for a little over a week, it kind of like puts into perspective how we don't know boredom anymore. Or we do, but we have something to do. We have a distraction. Sorry. But we don't have this distraction-free boredom where you have to wait at a bus stop for 15 minutes, no phone, no nothing, and you just have to wait. And every single second feels like it's twice the length. But it gives you a bit more patience, and I think that, you know, I'm not saying everyone should just stop using their phones, obviously. But I do think that I would definitely say not a month, but I would definitely recommend this whole challenge to everyone to do for a week. No more than a week. That the average person doesn't need more than a week, just to kind of relearn boredom, I guess. Day one was pretty uneventful. Most days are, because my life is kind of dull. Day two, the night was pretty good. Install more games, watch Cocaine Bear, fun movie. Was it good? It was okay, but it was very fun. And just kind of existed, install more games. That's kind of a common theme. Every single day I installed more games, and towards the end I kind of was like, okay, I'm gonna like slow down with that, because I had like 300 games I wanted to install. I don't think I would have been able to play even like 5 of those, but I just wanted to have them installed. On day 3, I actually went to Burger King. And I think that's the first time when the phone withdrawal truly kicked in, because that's exactly when, everyone was on their phones and you weren't. You had to wait for the food. And the only thing you could focus on is the music at the Burger King. And, that feeling when you're really hungry and you're out with a friend, you're broke, and your friend bought themselves like some really nice food and they're eating it right in front of you with like the most like nom nom, kind of like enjoying it thoroughly, that kind of feeling. That's exactly how I felt, looking at everyone on their phones, on their social media, texting their friends, and meanwhile I'm just sitting there, just kind of, I guess, I wouldn't call it salivating, but I would call it just like kind of sitting there, having to wait, because I can't do that until I get home. And trust me, the thing with using that computer, it was I pretty much did a build with like the best parts you can get on an XP officially. Really cool stuff, like pretty much a 10-year-old parts about ish. The problem is that in combination with Windows XP and modern Chrome, because I used this thing called Supermium, that was modern Chrome on XP. It didn't really play that well, especially on 4 gigs of RAM. If I had more than a few tabs open and I was installing something, the computer would just start shitting itself. But honestly, interestingly enough, it gave me a better perspective on what I want to prioritize, because I had to pick and choose what to have open, whether it was YouTube or Discord or Blue Sky, because I did say I'm not gonna use Twitter, like at least my main, during that month, because I just kind of wanted to escape it and get rid of the FOMO. And now I really don't feel much of a need to use it. Interestingly enough, I didn't really have any FOMO, especially since most people I know have moved over to Blue Sky. And if you haven't, you should. That's what I'm probably gonna be from next year on. But yeah, it was interesting. Obviously, Burger King is Burger King. It was okay. I went on a walk to the thrift store, which I tend to do weekly. They always have music or something that I want to get, or books. I've been getting into reading, or trying to. And I actually listened to some music. I listened to Thank You Next by Ariana Grande and Love You by the Beach Boys. Pretty much everything I've listened so far this month has been recommendations by friends, because before this November thing kicked in, what I wanted to do is listen to music that my friends want to. I just like DM'd a bunch of people and said, hi, can you give me an album recommendation? It can even be something I listen to. It doesn't have to follow any specific criteria, just something that I should listen to. And they gave me a lot of really good options. I've only listened to about half. I do want to listen to all of them, because they're all really fucking good. And on day 4, I went to see Venom: The Last Dance. It was a fun movie. I wish the hippies were my parents, because they were kind of cool. I don't know. It also kind of made me think, I kind of wish I could drive. And just like I'm thinking how cool it would be to drive this like decked out hippie van, just drive across the country, play the guitar, live this carefree life, I guess. I don't know, just I guess it's this like fantasy I have. I know it's probably not much of a possibility these days unless you're like really well off, but One could dream. Um, and yeah, I think another cool thing about this challenge is that I feel like I've been more active IRL because I've been making more plans. Oh, I'm gonna do this on this day. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go watch a movie. I'm gonna go on a walk and listen to this music. And I think that's really cool. When it comes to music, I was always doing that. Whenever I would go on a significant walk, I was always gonna take my iPod with me and just listen to some music. I've been using my iPod more or less at least weekly ever since early summer. And honestly, even though my Spotify Wrapped is gonna pretty much show a huge decline after spring, it's honestly something I'm happy with. I really love using the iPod. It's such a good way to listen to a lot of music, completely distraction free, and it just gives you a bit of an extra attachment to your music, kind of like how it is buying CDs. Spotify doesn't give you this attachment to, okay, you're gonna spend money on this, but you're gonna have it forever, and you actually thought of doing this. The intentionality of it, I think, is what makes it so beautiful and what makes it special as opposed to streaming. But yeah, and intentionality is really interesting because that was also a thing I had to do. I couldn't just like get up and just check my phone like I usually do, and like most people do, let's be honest. I had to turn on the computer, wait a minute for everything to turn on, then open up Chrome, wait for like another minute for everything there to open up, and then I can check my notifs. It was more of an intentionality thing where it was less of a I'm checking notifications because that's the normal thing to do, but more of a because I want to keep in touch with people. I want to keep in touch with those I know, with those I love, and with the people in my life, because I am more of an online person than IRL. And I think that's also an interesting way of like, it takes a while to find out the news, right? Because when you're on your phone, you just get bombarded by news all the time, even if you don't want to. But when you don't have your phone, you kind of need to seek out the news. Like, I remember on that day I found out Quincy Jones had died, and it was just like, oh, I see. Something I wouldn't have found out otherwise. I really tried to look into getting RSS feeds going on, but I couldn't find anything with news that worked to this day. Maybe I didn't look up enough. Most likely I didn't look it up enough, but well, yeah, that's kind of a bummer. And I ended day 4 by watching Natural Born Killers because I haven't watched it in years, and I wanted to give it a watch again. It's a very interesting movie, to say the least. It feels like the type of movie that I would have enjoyed way more if I was on drugs. Day 5, I picked up a Christmas tree. I watched the elections. And I listened to more music. I listened to Dreamland by Robert Miles, which was kind of nostalgic because a lot of those songs from the album were on my older sister's playlist years ago when I was a kid, so many of those felt like a throwback, really. And I remember that day I was thinking, hey, I'll have some bragging rights. I'll say, oh yeah, I used Windows XP for a whole month in 2024, 23 years after it came out and like 10 years after it stopped getting updates. But I mean, I can still say I used it, even if it's 10 days. It's a third of a month. It's still a pretty good amount. I really wanted to commit to this. I know that at points I was kind of second guessing myself because I was like, mentally I'm not doing that well because the isolation was getting to me, admittedly, but I wanted to do the whole thing because I have been wanting to do this for so long, and I felt like this was my one chance to do it, you know? Well, it wasn't that ended things abruptly. But yeah, I'm just gonna skip over the rest of the stuff. I might get into the rest of them soon, but I think it's been enough of a wait. I ended the challenge on day 11 because while I was out, I went to Taco Bell that day. It was a good time. I enjoyed my meal. It was really good. And I was thinking, this is a good way to end the day. I'm going to play some video games and I'm going to relax and sleep. While I was on my way home, there was some riot, or I don't know. There was explosives going off. I thought they were just very loud firecrackers because I know how it is in Eastern Europe, for example, where I'm from. You'd have a lot of annoying kids throwing firecrackers around just to scare people, sometimes animals, which I fucking hate seeing them do that. And I remember I snapped at one of them years ago. I was like, stop doing that, stop hurting animals like that, piece of shit. But I didn't assume anything until I saw one of them explode into flames. And very soon after, they started throwing bricks into the bus that I was in. I had to cover myself. I had to go behind the seats. Thankfully, none of them hit me, but I tell you, nothing felt real. It felt like I was part of a movie. It felt like I was not only watching a movie, but I was part of it. Everything felt too real, but also not real at all. Everything lasted maybe a minute, but it felt like 10 at least, because just they kept throwing bricks. Everyone was scared that they were going to be hit or that there's going to be glass shards hurting them, that something was going to happen. And thankfully the bus driver eventually stepped on it. It took him a while. It probably took him way less than I felt, but for me, it felt like he stood there for ages. He was probably in shock too. He drove. Apparently, the tram right next to us caught on fire. It straight up just got on fire. They set it on fire, and I feel like our bus would have too if the bus driver didn't move in, I guess, due diligence. The bus driver didn't take us to the station. Obviously, the bus was in a really rough shape. But he dropped us off like a few streets away where it was safe, and everyone, all the people in the bus as a group, we kind of mobilized ourselves to help each other go home. There are some people that took an Uber ride because they were from another city, and the rest of us just went to the train station and we just made it home. Everyone made it home safely, I hope. I don't know about everyone else, but I made it home safely. And I don't know, I guess it's just kind of fucking wild to say. this was supposed to be this very well edited, well made video about, oh, I survived 30, oh, not survived, I managed 30 days without modern technology and modern distractions for the most part, you know, and just talk about that, give a day by day rundown like I have, like, for the first part of this video. Even I again, I haven't done a full rundown. I was trying to be brief and kind of loosely talk about that. I was really planning it up ahead. That's why I filmed so much footage on that SE. I was preparing to do so much. I was really excited that this was going to be my first serious video, and probably the start of, you know, me treating this video making thing as something more serious than just me talking about this and that and venting out my feelings and just speaking up about myself. And then this happened, and now I feel like I just have to talk about it and just kind of, I guess, I don't know, just talk about the irony of me wanting to make a serious thing, and I was committing to something, and then kind of life threw me a curveball and gave me even more trauma by you know, going through that. And I hear a lot of loud sounds outside. I know that most of them either are not real or they're nothing to worry about, but in my head there's this constant anxiety because I keep hearing the glass, I keep hearing the explosions, I keep hearing every fucking thing. It just feels like forever. I keep going and cycling through all those fears of, what if they throw an explosive? What if one of those people get in and start attacking us? What if all those thoughts cycle in my head, and I know it's not healthy and I know it's not good, but it's unfortunately something that I have to deal with myself. Can't really just like erase it from my mind as much as I want to. I'm just kind of, I have to live with it. I just sometimes think about this one quote from Better Call Saul. If you haven't watched it, please do. It's really good. This quote Mike Ehrmantraut says, one day you're going to wake up, brush your teeth, eat your breakfast, go to work, and eventually you'll realize you haven't thought of it. And I guess that's probably not word for word, but that is, I guess, what I'm hoping for. One day it'll stop mattering, even if today I might still be affected, since it's only been like, I think 24 hours at this point, maybe slightly less, about-ish. It's you know, I guess it's still fresh, and eventually it'll stop being fresh. Eventually it will feel better. But I guess that also made me realize we tend to not think about any of the news that happen, like, oh, this left this amount of people dead or wounded, or this thing happened. We tend not to think about it too much, or just say, oh shit, that's a shame, and then move on until it happens to you, and that's giving you a completely different perspective of the news. The news give you a different perspective when you're kind of part of the news and you didn't choose to be. And yeah, I guess it's scary. Even now I'm feeling scared. I know that I'm, out of harm's way and nothing bad will happen and I'm safe, but it's still just thinking about the sheer terror of it. And holy shit, it still doesn't feel real. Nothing feels real still. It just doesn't. I seriously I don't know. I guess it's just this feeling of I've been through so much, and now this is something I've been through. What a fucked up, twisted Chungus life of mine. But yeah, I think that's kind of the thing about it. I just want to say that I didn't imagine I would ever talk about this topic, that I would ever make a video that is pretty much just, yeah, I survived a terror attack. I don't know the full context of it, but I just know what I've been through. And I don't know. I guess that derailed my plans. Do I do I plan on, trying this whole challenge, month-long challenge again? I do, but I think I'll do it next year. I'll take a break from everything. I decided to end that challenge specifically because I feel like mentally I needed to be busy and distracted. I guess sometimes distractions are bad, but other times when you need them, I think it's good to be distracted and keep yourself as busy as possible, and also, keep company there, or have people talk to you and be there for you. Talk to your loved ones and be there for everyone, because you don't know what may happen. Like, I guess yesterday also taught me about the fragility of life. Like, anything could have happened. Anything from them throwing something else to, I don't know, a brick hitting one of us or something. I'm just, as suicidal as I've been throughout my life, I guess I can truly actually say that I'm thankful to be alive, because I guess just dying in that way is not a good death. It really isn't. Just, stay safe, all of you, and, just talk to your loved ones, talk to the people you care about. You may not know what they've been through or what they may go through. And, that's about it, I guess. I don't know what else to say other than this.